As an expectant parent, there are literally thousands of questions you'll want to know the answers to, ranging from the pregnancy itself to childbirth and the first few weeks and months of your baby's life. And with everyone's experiences being different, we can't hope to answer them all today, but together with a mummy blogger, over the next few minutes, we hope to offer you some sound advice as to having the healthiest pregnancy possible. Joining me today is Helen Neal, mum of 2 from kiddiecharts.com. When you were still in your first trimester, did you have any particular complications or problems at that time medically?
The only thing really was, morning sickness. With my first child, that didn't happen at all, but with the second one, it didn't stop until about 20 weeks, which, we were told it was 12 weeks, but, and it was all times of day. I don't know how unusual that was.
I think it's actually very common. I think morning sickness almost trivialises what we call emesis in pregnancy, vomiting in pregnancy, and a lot of women will find that not only is it all-day sickness, but it goes on for mostly about 16 to 18 weeks. There are a couple of interventions which are known to do no harm, which women obviously prefer. They don't want to take medications in pregnancy, and one of those is something called a C-band, which is a wristband which puts pressure on a particular acupuncture point, and this is worn pretty much all the time until the pregnant woman gets to about 16 weeks. The other alternative is ginger tablets, which has a very high concentration of ginger, and this has also been found to significantly reduce vomiting in early pregnancy. Moving on to the actual delivery, obviously that's some time on. I know lots of women will have been encouraged to write a birth plan, and I wondered if you felt that that was a correct description of perhaps what for many women is a wish list and maybe a plan that isn't completely executed.
I think you have to go into it with both eyes wide open, that as much as we would like to feel in control of the experience, and I think getting as much information about what's happening beforehand is going to help you feel more in control. It's something that, things can get carried away and then things happen that you weren't expecting. So it's kind of your ideal, that birth plan. It's what you would like to happen if there were no issues, but we all want to make sure there's a healthy baby delivered at the end of it, so there may need to be interventions to make sure that actually happens. Is that something that you found, that birth plans aren't necessarily what you expect them to be?
In terms of the birth plan, I think keep an open mind, maybe not too many absolutes that you don't want or you do want, and just think this is the baby's day and my day, and what we're aiming for is healthy mother, healthy baby at the end of the process. There is no need in 2013 for any mother to be in pain, and I think sometimes that's quite reassuring to know before you go in, I don't need to be in pain if I tell someone. It is suggested that women who deliver at home may have less pain, perceived pain, than those who deliver in hospital. I wondered if considering a home delivery was something that you had thought about.
We did think about it with both children. My first child, there were complications in the delivery, and we had opted for a water birth, and though that was we went with that as far as possible until the interventions were needed. With my second child, because there were complications with the first, I didn't really feel comfortable enough to have a home birth, but it's certainly something that we considered, because I felt that I would be much more relaxed in that environment, and it sounds like from your experiences that other mothers have felt the same.
I think that's absolutely right. There is, however, a percentage of women that need to be transferred to hospital for complications during their labour, and this can be up to 45%, particularly in their first labour, and potential mothers sometimes find that this is not something they'd like to consider. Where do you think you got most of your information, your useful information about pregnancy from?
I tried not to overwhelm myself by reading too much, and I used to sort of focus on websites that I trusted with both pregnancies, and just, one or two books that have been recommended by friends. And the other thing is making sure I talk to people that have had children and gone through pregnancy to really understand exactly what was happening. And obviously your book would be of assistance in the future for other mothers.
I hope I've covered some of the topics that perhaps friends and colleagues are maybe reluctant to discuss. And I do think that there are elements to the latter stages of pregnancy and delivery itself that to new mums come as a complete surprise. And even things in the postnatal period, such as how much you would bleed afterwards and for how long, comes as a complete surprise, because it's not something that mothers, sisters tend to talk about. So I've tried to put all of that information in, hoping that I can allay some fears and anxieties in this period. Helen, thank you very much for joining me today, and thank you for watching.